made 47 off 35, 4 fours and a 6 before she was caught in the deep by Holly Furling late in the innings. And Talia McGrath, she was out off the bowling of Faulkner as well, 7 of 6 deliveries, and then Penner stumped by Dooley as well late. So Bridget Patterson, she finished up 11 not out from 5 deliveries. Wellington also 1 not out from just the 1 delivery faced. Looking at the bowling for the Melbourne Renegades, Sophie Molyneux 4 overs, 1 for 34. She went for 13 in her opening over. Ella Hayward 3 overs, none for 23. Ellie Falconer 4 overs, 1 for 25. Harmanpreet Kaur 4 overs, 2 for 31. Furling 1 over, none for 13. Carly Leeson 4 overs, 1 for 34. So that's the way that it finished up. They will need 161 to win, the Melbourne Renegades, after the Adelaide Strikers posted 5 for 160 off their 20 overs. The sundries as well, 9 wides was it for the Melbourne Renegades bowling effort. Time for us to catch our breath. We'll get the latest from the ABC newsroom and come back with the run chase from Lilac Hill. The Renegades, can they chase down 161 to win? We'll find out after the latest from ABC News.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. Former Liberal Finance Minister Matthias Cormann says a globally consistent price on carbon could be the most efficient way to reduce emissions. Mr Cormann was a senior member of the Abbott, Turnbull and Morrison governments before leaving Parliament last year to head up the Paris-based Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development. During his time in politics, he was highly critical of the Gillard government's carbon tax, describing it as a very expensive hoax. Mr Cormann has told Sky News that he supports a globally coordinated approach to carbon pricing.
We ought to have, in the same way as we've had an inclusive framework approach for tax, bringing all of the G20 countries and 136 countries around the world onto the same page on tax, which was very difficult. We need a similar approach to the pricing of carbon emissions.
Victoria has recorded 1,036 new COVID-19 infections and a further 12 deaths. Helen Vines reports.
The death toll in Victoria from the current outbreak has risen to 305. 702 people are in hospital, with 80 of those on a ventilator. There are now 22,013 active cases in the state. The state has now officially passed a milestone of having 80% of the population aged 16 and above having received both doses of COVID-19 vaccine. Health authorities are urging those heading out trick-or-treating for Halloween to take COVID-safe precautions like regular hand sanitation.
Victorian MP Tim Smith has resigned from the shadow cabinet after his licence was suspended for drink driving. Mr Smith, who until today held the shadow Attorney-General portfolio, apologised for the serious error of judgment. He said he believed he was under the legal limit to drive home after dinner with friends, but this was not the case. The New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet has defended spending on Wagga Wagga's hospital, saying money was allocated in the 2017-18 budget. In a taped phone conversation played to the ICAC, former MP Darryl Maguire was heard complaining to former Premier Gladys Berejiklian about there being no funding for the project. Mr Perrottet says there is money for health in every state budget, and he is unable to comment further on the matter.
I'm not going to be running commentary in relation to proceedings at the ICAC. I've said that from the outset. There are public hearings that are occurring. They're still ongoing. And as Premier of the State, I'm not going to prejudice those hearings by providing that commentary in relation to it.
One person has died and several others have been taken to hospital in a critical condition after a boat capsized off the New South Wales coast near Wollongong. The ambulance service says 7 men were on board the boat when it overturned this morning. It says 3 people swam clear and 4 others were caught under the boat. An 8th person swam out to help but received chemical burns believed to be from the boat. Norm Rees from the New South Wales Ambulance Service says it was a chaotic and tragic scene.
There was 4 critical patients. 3 had gone into cardiac arrest and had CPR being performed on them. And a 4th had passed away, unfortunately, and we couldn't do anything for him.
Sudanese security forces have fired live rounds and tear gas at large crowds of pro-democracy protesters in the capital Khartoum, as well as a nearby town. 3 people were killed, as the BBC's Anne Soy reports.
Thousands of Sudanese have been on the streets in the capital and other cities. They chanted in praise of the revolution. The protesters say they were back to protect that revolution. Some were dressed in the colours of the Sudanese flag. Others waved it as they chanted, "May freedom live." They called for freedom from military rule. Bridges connecting the capital and other cities were blocked. Phone lines were down and the internet has been unavailable since Monday. Yet protest leaders were able to mobilise thousands of supporters.
The Collingwood AFL club is trying to contact player Jordan De Goey, who is in police custody after an incident in New York. Yvette Gray reports.
25-year-old Jordan De Goey and 28-year-old Australian man Luke Dyson have been arrested and charged with assault and forcible touching following an incident at a bar in the Chelsea district. The New York City Police Department has told the ABC a 35-year-old woman claims she was groped by 2 men on the dance floor in the early hours of Saturday morning local time. Police say when her 37-year-old friend went to her aid, he was punched, kicked and struck in the face with a glass bottle. The 2 men were arrested at the scene without incident and are awaiting to see a judge. Police say all parties were intoxicated and the victims refused medical attention.
Inspiring audiobooks from some of Australia's most beloved storytellers are now free to stream on the ABC Listen app.
I left a few months before my ordination as a priest.
The best homegrown fiction.
In their tent under the jacaranda, they put together a plan.
Real-life Australian stories.
Growing up half a world away, wondering whether I would ever see my mother and brothers and sister again.
And so much more. A great range of audiobooks free to stream on the ABC Listen app. The WBBL.
Big shot, it's gone down the throat of the fielder at mid-wicket.
She's caught behind, I think, yes, she's nicked it, got the outside edge.
Live on ABC Sport Digital and on the ABC Listen app.
The innings break at Lilac Hill. Corbin Middlemass with you in the Grandstand host studio. The Adelaide Strikers assembling 5 for 160 batting first. So target 161 for the Melbourne Renegades. Couple of other games in the WBBL universe. The Sydney Thunder have beaten the Hobart Hurricanes down in Launceston. Thunder making 146 batting first and the Hurricanes limited to 8 for 109 off their 20 overs. Meanwhile, the halfway mark between the Heat and the Stars. The Brisbane Heat won the toss. They elected to bat and they're currently 7 for 79 in the 18th over. So 7 for 79, the Heat against the Melbourne Stars, first innings of that match. There's also another game to come at Lilac Hill later today. You will hear that on ABC Radio throughout WA. The Scorchers and the Sixers, that's Sophie Devine and crew up against Elise Perry. And all the stars, Alyssa Healy, Ash Gardner and co from the Sydney Sixers. The supercars are on today. Race 21 is down. There's still another race to come later today. Richard Crail, our racing analyst, is across all of it for us. Richard.
Corbin, big day at Sydney Motorsport Park in a big race 21. And the Holden brand may have disappeared from Australian shores, but the rivalry with Ford is still there, and we saw another classic battle between Ford v Holden today in race 21 of the Supercars Championship for this year. It was a fight between Shane Van Gisbergen, the championship leader, and Will Davison for Dick Johnson Racing. Will was leading the race early on. His teammate Anton De Pasquale started from pole position, but was slow away, almost stalled the car, and ultimately dropped down to 7th position. He recovered to 5th at the end, but that left his teammate Will Davison in front, and things were going well. He built a 3-second lead before he needed to come into pit lane, but 2 laps before he pitted, his dashboard failed. An electrical issue on car 17 meant he had no idea of what gear he was in, what speed he was going, or pit communication with his team as well. So when he came into pit lane, he was going slow. He didn't want to break the 40k an hour speed limit and get pinged for speeding in pit lane. That was all the difference that Shane Van Gisbergen, the wily Kiwi, needed. He ranged up behind car 17. A really good pit stop from his 888 race team was enough to feed him back out on track in front of Will Davison. They went toe-to-toe for the remaining 15 laps after the pit stops, but ultimately Shane was able to come home and win his 12th race of the season. It's race 21, so it's a fair portion of the championship so far. And to show you how dominant he's been, the next best driver has only won 3 races this year. Davison's second was his 4th second-place finish of the year. He hasn't won a race since Bathurst in 2016, and he was absolutely gutted at missing out on that one, but he's got another opportunity later this afternoon. Nick Percat backed up 4th place last night under lights, with 3rd today for Brad Jones Racing. He's looking strong. Brodie Kostecki was 3rd last night. He was 4th today for Erebus Motorsport, the rookie going along very strongly. And 5th place was a solid recovery from Anton De Pasquale. Tim Slade for the single-car Blanchard Racing team. The underdogs in the sport, really strong to finish 6th. Jamie Whincup, the 7-time champion, struggled a little bit in that race with tyres. He dropped back to 7th position from 4th on the grid. Chaz Mostert was 8th, Andre Heimgartner 9th, and his teammate David Reynolds, one of the great characters of our sport, rounding out the top 10. Compelling stuff at Sydney Motorsport Park. Tyres, Corbin, are the big talking point at a track where they wear very, very quickly. And when they get to the 3rd and final race, they're basically out on their feet. They've got to piece together the best of what they've got left to last for the final 32 laps. Race 22 starts at 4:25 p.m. local time. It will be survival of the fittest. Once again, a red Ford will start on pole position because that's where Anton De Pasquale qualified earlier today.
Thanks, Richard. Richard Craill with the latest from the Supercars at Sydney Motorsport Park. In the World Series, the baseball, it's Game 4. Atlanta lead the series 2-1, and Atlanta lead the game 3-2. This is Game 4 of the series, top of the 9th, so Houston need to make something happen in a hurry. Time now for the run chase back at Lilac Hill. The target 161 for the Melbourne Renegades. Jenny Wallace and Ben Cameron.
Thank you, Corb. So just about set to go. The Renegades will need 161 to win here at Lilac Hill. The pitch does look like it's probably at its best for batting in this first match of the second day of doubleheaders. Megan Shute is at the top of her mark. The field set with 5 in the ring on the offside, 1 out on the cover boundary. She'll also have a square leg, a footer on the mid-wicket boundary and a mid-on as well. It'll be Jones on strike for the Renegades. The left-hand bat, Shute right arm over the wicket. Jones awaits Shute. A wide delivery, square driven straight to the fielder at point. Who's able to knock it down, Katie Mack. Did well there. The old Australian team would have called that a knock-on with Andrew Simons and Michael Clark as they used to play their fielding games back in the day, but a good save nevertheless.
Yep, knock-on, agreed. Grew up in an NRL town myself, so that's a knock-on.
Here comes Shute again, steaming in. A wide delivery, square driven again, almost to Mack on the full. A half volley for the fielder at point. Again, she knocks it down. A couple of good saves from Katie Mack in at point.
Well, I think the way Jones sets up and likes to slash outside cover for the square drive with Megan Shute hooping it away from her. If I was Katie Mack, be brave, get in by 2 metres, you're going to catch the next one.
Shute with that little hop. Runs away from the pavilion end. On the off stump, Jones plays it down on the onside. Shute bursts onto the ball to prevent any chance of a single. So a good start. Get your best fielders in there at point or at cover. Great Jonty Rhodes back in the day. Favourite of mine.
Absolutely.
I love the Superman run out from Jonty. And the catch at the World Cup where he parries it and then catches it on the way down. Absolutely loved Jonty Rhodes. Here comes Shute again, the left-handed. Jones awaiting her. Outside the off stump, Jones punches it into the covers and another dot ball. A good start here from Shute.
Shute was a bit full on her first 2 and that's why Jones could try and square drive it as it went wider of off. Now she's brought her line in, so probably starting even leg and middle and drifting away from Jones, but it's the length now. She's brought it back just a bit. Much harder to drive.
2 balls left in this first over. Here comes Shute. Jones on the front foot, driving down to mid-off and another dot. Great to hear from this man. Matty Guyot, who's a golf professional here in Australia, has sent us a text. Enjoying listening, stuck in traffic from Sunshine Coast to Brisbane. Good to hear you calling Josie Dooley's name. I've given her a couple of golf lessons and she's not a bad golfer as well. As Shute runs in and bowls to Jones, square driving again, straight to Mack at point. He knocks it down once more, keeps it in front of herself, prevents a single, and a maiden to start from Megan Shute from the pavilion end here at Lilac Hill. And that is a very good start for the Adelaide Strikers as they endeavour to defend 160.
Perfect start for Adelaide Strikers. Talia McGrath would be chuffed with the fact that she's got Australian superstar Megan Shute back at her disposal this weekend after some time on parental leave. And to start with the chase already, you're needing 8 and over, and immediately a maiden puts that even higher. Great start to the Strikers.
Another SMS says you should be broadcasting the cricket on analogue radio. Our national team is playing and you are our national broadcaster. Maybe I'll tune into the BBC on the other side of the world instead, with caps lock, so they're shouting at us. I'm not sure where you are, that anonymous text, but we are broadcasting the T20 World Cup on analogue radio outside of New South Wales, I believe, but you can always listen to it on the app. As Darcy Brown starts the second over from the river end of the ground to Rodrigues, who drives through the covers and times it wonderfully. Off to the rope it goes. A good start for Jemima Rodriguez.
Lovely shot. Slightly over-pitched. It wasn't an out-and-out half volley. It was wide of off stump. And Rodrigues, great just weight transfer into the ball. Lovely hands through it and all the way along the ground. Great control, great placement.
So Brown turns at the top of her mark. Runs into Rodrigues again. Right arm over the wicket. The diminutive Rodrigues defends it back down the pitch. A length delivery from Brown.
Brought the length back, straightened up, targeting off stump.
Now you and I, we caught up with Darcy Brown pre-game today. We wanted to find out what is the go with her short pants. Her pants are about 2 inches shorter than everyone else's would be. You can see her ankles. As Brown runs away from us at the river end again, a short ball to Rodrigues, who's jammed up trying to play the pull shot. It balloons backward of square leg but lands safely and they get through for a single. What was her answer?
Oh, it was brilliant. So we were asking, was there an error? Was she in Katie Mack's pants, who's tiny? What was the problem? She said, no, I do that deliberately because I prefer the airflow. It's hotter, these are my airflow pants. And I said, so that makes it sound like you've got a different pair of pants for colder conditions. She said, yeah. I got longer ones for when it's cold and I don't need the airflow, but I need the airflow at the moment. It makes it feel better for me.
Unbelievable. She's got the ankle socks on so you can actually see a little bit of ankle, as sort of is the fashion with kids these days. Jones, the left-hander, awaiting Brown in a wild swing, trying to play somewhat of a slog combined with a pull shot. It wasn't really a pull shot, but a play and a miss as it goes through behind to the keeper. Mark in Adelaide says, hi Ben, enjoying the call, go the Strikers. Thanks Mark.
Darcy spoke to us with a huge grin on her face. Love that she could just tell us this story during her warm-up.
Lollipop in her mouth as well as Brown comes in again. A wide delivery and appeal for court behind. The Strikers confident, somewhat stifled in the end. A play and a miss from Jones. Might have just scuffed the pitch trying to play that square drive.
It's definitely a quicker wicket this morning than what we saw yesterday. Brown getting it through, good wheels, carrying nicely through to Tegan McFarlane. I like that they've got a first slip, the Strikers. The short ball to Rodrigues was really well aimed. Good over so far.
The young tearaway, in and bowling again. Jones cramped up, trying to play it to mid-wicket. Unable to get a single, Coit Fields. So a dot ball to finish, 5 coming off the over there for Darcy Brown. None for 5 after 2 are the Melbourne Renegades chasing 161 to win.
Yep, they'll be absolutely chuffed with this start, the Strikers. Renegades haven't lost a wicket, but they're still trying to find their way into this game. And the problem they've got is that there's just no... Out of these two bowlers, you think, who am I going to go after? It's hard to go after Shute. People have tried it for years and failed. So then they think, maybe we'll take on the pace of Brown. And after the first ball was full and wide and they put that away, the rest she really sorted out. So she continued the pressure as well.
So 2 out on the leg side. Fielder at the mid-wicket boundary. Also a deep backward square as well. Here for Megan Shute. Into that little hop that starts her run up. Now she's in and bowling to Rodrigues, who's driving to extra cover. Well fielded. Dane van Niekerk diving low down, testing out that hamstring niggle.
Yeah, she seems to be okay. It almost like maybe she warmed up into it as her batting innings went, because she sort of didn't actually go to it that often. We'll watch throughout the fielding innings, and hopefully also doesn't affect her bowling ability.
I love it when Newkirk is bowling. Rodrigues awaits shoot. A little too straight here, maybe a leg by. It drops down just backward of square on the leg side. Through for a single. Yes, the umpire taps his leg and says leg by. So I was asking you earlier, it's Halloween today. What would be your cricket-themed Halloween dress-up?
Cricket-themed Halloween dress-up?
Like Billy Bowden. Who would you go as? Jones on strike to shoot. It balloons as she plays it down towards mid-on. They're able to get through for a single in the end. Maybe just held up a little bit off the pitch there. Jones was through her stroke.
Could I go as Catherine Fitzpatrick? Probably one of the scariest people I've ever met.
Absolutely. Maybe Sophie Devine. She's haunting opposition at the moment.
Good.
Particularly bowlers in the super over.
Gemma Barsby used to always get me out, so she'd be the stuff of my nightmares, so maybe I have to go as Barsby.
Renegades none for 7 after 2.3. Outside the off stump, a play and a miss for Rodrigues. Against shoot. You can let us know 0467 920 222. 0467 920 222. Maybe any English supporter today is a bit of a horror for an Australian cricket fan. Rodrigues awaiting shoot, length delivery, slog sweeps it over the fielder's head at mid-wicket for 6. Well, that came out of nowhere. The little pocket rocket, Rodrigues just gets down on one knee and dispatches it over mid-wicket.
Oh, I loved that. Incredible. Shoot that you very rarely see her get hit for maximums. And a slog sweep at that. Stunning.
Shoot runs in and bowls to Rodrigues again, who's driving down to mid-off for no run, straight to Coit. So the end of the third over, none for 13, the Melbourne Renegades. Chasing 161 for victory. So Evie Jones is unbeaten on 1 from 10 deliveries, and Rodrigues after that 6 on 11 from 8, 1-4 and 1-6 for the player who goes by Jemima Rodrigues.
Oh, Jones has to do something here. Realistically, if she has a couple of dots straight up, we need her to run at the ball and just do something.
Either hit out or get out.
Yeah.
Stop chewing up balls as Brown comes in and bowls to Jones, who drives down to mid-off. Another dot. Matty Guide also wanted an update of the WBBL standings. So the Brisbane Heat, 6 matches, they're top, 9 points. The Melbourne Renegades also have 9 points, with 4 wins from their 6 matches, 1 loss, 1 no result. The Perth Scorchers have only played 5 games, have 7 points. Then the Strikers have played 5 games and have 5 points. As Brown, right arm over the wicket to the left-handed Jones, comes in again, a Yorker, dug out, bounces back over the bowler's head. And Jones will get through for a single. Fielding done by Wellington. Field flips over for the right-hander Rodrigues.
I'm sensing such good airflow coming from Darcy Brown.
And it's the Hobart Hurricanes, only 2 wins from 8 matches. The Stars with only 2 wins from 7. Sixers only 2 wins from 6 matches. And the Thunder are bottom at the moment, 2 wins from their 7 matches. 4 in the ring on the offside. A third down at the boundary. A slip in place as Brown in and bowling to Rodrigues, turning it off her hip. Backward of square down towards deep backward square, and comfortably they'll come back for a second.
I tell you who, mannerisms-wise, Rodrigues reminds me of when she runs between wickets, Chloe Paparo.
Well, they'd look each other eye to eye, wouldn't they?
Very similar body shape, body height, all that sort of stuff. And
weigh about 55 kilos, wringing wet, both of them.
Agreed.
Very diminutive. A bouncer from Darcy Brown, all for a wide. Darcy Brown, a little overzealous, trying to dig it in the Tearaway quick, getting excited.
She had well and truly cleared Rodrigues, who's small to start with, but I think even the tallest in the game, that still would have gone sailing over their heads.
Possibly even down leg side. It was almost both, wasn't it?
Yeah.
From Darcy Brown. Take your pick. As Brown will try again. Fourth ball of the fourth over. None for 17, the Renegades. Brown into Rodrigues, who turns it off her pads beautifully through backward square leg. And it goes to the rope for 4. It was timed magnificently from Rodrigues. And she's starting to find the middle of the bat.
And when Rodrigues plays that shot, look, she's the first of her namesake, so I don't want to take her away, but it also I see the influence of growing up watching a Mitali Raj and a Sachin Tendulkar play. You can see that in that beautiful shot off the hip through square leg. Gorgeous.
Brown running away from the river end of the ground. Right arm over the wicket to Rodrigues again, who defends it back down the pitch.
And really clever play, because Darcy Brown, you know you've got the pace to work with, but it's not an easy shot to do, to get inside the line of that and play it that square when you've got someone bowling that quickly at you.
Rodrigues steps into her batting stance. Brown past the umpire, bowling. Rodrigues slapping it wider mid-on down towards the boundary. It looks as if it'll just be run in. It won't. Oh, the ball almost gained speed as it rolled away to the boundary on this beautiful outfield. Wonderfully prepared by the ground staff here at Lilac Hill. It's carpet-like. And Rodrigues finding another boundary to finish the fourth over. And the Renegades just starting to get going in this run chase, needing 161 for victory. As Jenny Wallace steps out, Nikki Shaw, the former English international, steps back in. None for 25. Jones on 2 and Rodrigues on 21 after 4 overs. Nikki Shaw, I had a SMS asking for more explanation about you in your playing days, so former English quick.
Oh, me and my playing days. Well, I have to track back a little bit for that. For England playing days, or just whilst I was here, or what do we reckon?
Sorry?
Here? Right, well, you're interested, obviously.
No, I am interested. I was just reading an SMS at the same time, and I can't multitask, okay, Nikki?
That was about as interesting as my career, mate.
Jones on strike, shoot starting a new over from the pavilion end, a full delivery, driven back down the ground. Mid-off has to come straight to field, so they'll get a single. I can't multitask, okay?
No, apparently not.
So my friend on the SMS has sent me another text. He said it wasn't on any frequency that I could find. I spent 10 minutes checking every capital and regional station listed on the website, not on one of them. Well, it was on analogue in every state except for New South Wales. And if you clicked on the ABC Sport button, you would have heard it.